My
The sky
queen,
above
this
Asterisk
ring is my
Elias 9
eternal
shimmered with 3
promise.
violet
It is
moons to most of the
beautiful, my
galaxy.
love.
The planet was
As
known as
you
the
are to
asterisk
me.
jewel of the
I
Orion Belt,
accept it,
a
and
world of
you,
floating crystal
forever.
cities, silver
Forever,
oceans,
my
and
beloved.
towering palaces suspended by anti-gravity fields. But to 10-year-old asterisk Cale Carter, it was simply the most magical place he had ever seen. Cale was human, and humans were almost never allowed on Elias 9. His father, Commander Marcus Carter, had been part of Earth's diplomatic fleet, the first human delegation invited to negotiate trade routes with the alien kingdom of Elias. While the adults spent their days discussing treaties and technology exchanges, Kyle spent his time exploring the palace gardens. That was where he met her. She was sitting beside a glowing lake, her bare feet touching the luminous water, her silver hair reflecting the moonlight like strands of starlight. She looked about his age, her skin shimmered faintly with soft blue patterns, and her eyes glowed pale violet. KL had never seen anyone so extraordinary. "You're not supposed to be here," she said without looking at him. Kyle frowned. "Why not? This garden is reserved for the royal family." "Oh." He hesitated. "Are you?" She finally turned to him. "I am Princess Lyra Solis, daughter of Queen Seraphis of Elaris." Kyle's mouth dropped open. He had heard stories of the princess, future ruler of the planet, brilliant beyond her years, destined to inherit one of the galaxy's most powerful civilizations. Instead of being intimidated, he grinned. "I'm Kale." She studied him carefully. "You are human?" "Yeah. I've never met a human before. I've never met a princess before." For a moment, they simply stared at one another. Then Lyra smiled. And in that instant, a friendship began. For the next 3 weeks, Kale and Lyra became inseparable. They explored hidden palace corridors, raced through anti-gravity gardens, snuck into the royal observatory to watch meteor showers. Kale told her stories of Earth. Blue oceans, thunderstorms, crowded cities filled with millions of people. Lyra spoke of Elaris traditions, cosmic energy temples, and the burden of one day becoming queen. She was unlike anyone Kale had ever known, brilliant, curious, lonely. Though surrounded by servants and advisors, Lyra had never had a true friend. On the final night before Kale's family returned to Earth, they sat beneath the crystal arch overlooking the Silver Sea. Neither wanted to say goodbye. "I have to leave tomorrow," Kale said quietly. Lyra nodded, staring at the moons. "My mother says alliances change. Humans may never be welcomed here again." The thought hit him like a punch. He reached for her hand. "I'll come back." Lyra looked doubtful. "You are only a boy." Kale straightened his shoulders with all the seriousness a 10-year-old could muster. "Then I'll grow up." She laughed softly. "And what happens then?" Kale looked directly into her glowing eyes. "When I grow up, I'll come back and marry you." Lyra blinked. Then she smiled. "A bold promise, human." "I mean it." She extended her hand, royal and graceful. "Then I shall wait." They sealed the childish vow with linked pinkies beneath the 3 moons. Neither knew that fate was already conspiring against them. The following morning, tragedy struck. As the human diplomatic fleet prepared to depart orbit, extremist rebels attacked. Explosions tore through the station. Chaos erupted. Kale and his family barely escaped aboard an emergency shuttle. Through the viewport, he watched flames consume the docking platform where Lyra had come to say goodbye. He screamed her name, but the shuttle was already gone. News reports later confirmed what everyone feared. Queen Seraphis blamed human negligence for the attack. Diplomatic relations were severed. Elaris sealed its borders. No human vessel would ever be permitted near the planet again. Kale was devastated. For years, he believed Lyra had forgotten him. But he never forgot her, or the promise he made. 15 years passed. Cale Carter became one of Earth's most accomplished star pilots. Driven by brilliance and obsession, he joined the Interstellar Vanguardist, humanity's elite exploration corps. Every mission, every achievement, every risk he took, all of it was for one purpose: to return to Elaris 9. Most considered it impossible. The planet remained heavily guarded, its borders protected by quantum defense arrays capable of destroying unauthorized ships instantly. But Cale had spent years studying Elarian systems. And when rumors spread of political unrest within the kingdom, he knew his chance had come. Now 25, he stood aboard his stealth vessel, Odyssey, staring at the glowing sphere of Elaris through the viewport. He touched a small crystal pendant around his neck, the one Lyra had given him as a child. "I'm coming back," he whispered. What Cale didn't know was that Lyra had waited. Now crowned princess of Elaris, she had grown into a woman of remarkable beauty and power. Her silver hair fell to her waist. Her violet eyes carried wisdom beyond her years. And though dozens of noble suitors from across the galaxy had sought her hand, she had rejected everyone. To her council, it was baffling. To Lyra, it was simple. A promise had been made. And somewhere deep in her heart, she had never stopped believing. Still, after 15 years, hope had become fragile until the alarm sounded. Altite human vessel entering royal airspace. Lyra froze. Yaman, her heart pounded. Impossible. She rushed to the command chamber just as security screens displayed the incoming ship. And there, transmitted across the holographic display, was a face she recognized instantly. Older, stronger, but unmistakably his He smiled. "I told you I'd come back." His arrival shocked the kingdom. The royal council demanded immediate execution for trespassing. General Varek, commander of Elaris's military forces, was especially furious. For years he had expected to marry Lyra and secure influence over the throne. Kael's return threatened everything, but Lyra invoked ancient royal law, the asterisk right of personal audience, forbidding harm to any guest she personally accepted. Thus Kael was brought to the palace. When they finally stood face to face in the moonlit throne garden, neither spoke for several moments. "You returned," Lyra whispered. Kael smiled softly. "I keep my promises." Emotion flickered across her composed features. "You were only a boy. Maybe." He reached into his pocket and withdrew a small silver ring embedded with glowing Illyrian crystal. "But I'm not anymore," her breath caught. "You remembered." "I never forgot." For the first time in years, Lyria's carefully guarded heart cracked open, and something beautiful rushed through. But love was not enough to overcome politics. General Varek moved swiftly, declaring Kael a human spy. He orchestrated a coup. The royal palace fell under military control. Lyra was placed under house arrest. Kael was imprisoned in the subterranean energy vaults. Varek then presented Lyra with an ultimatum: marry him, or watch Kael executed at dawn. For the first time in her life, Lyra felt truly helpless, until she remembered the lessons Kael had once taught her as children. Rules can be broken, walls can be climbed, and impossible things are only impossible until someone does them. That night, with help from loyal palace guards, she escaped. Kael sat chained inside the energy vault when the cell door exploded inward. Lyra stood there, armored in ceremonial battle silver. "Miss me?" she asked. He laughed. "Definitely still the same princess." Together they fought through waves of security drones. Kael piloted stolen starfighters. Lyra wielded plasma blades with deadly precision. Their escape ignited rebellion throughout the kingdom. Citizens loyal to the true crown rose against Varek's forces. The battle for Elaris consumed the capital skies. At the height of the conflict, Lyra confronted Varek atop the crystal spire. "You would doom our world for power," she said. "I would save it from weakness," he snarled. Their duel was fierce, but Lyra was stronger. With one final strike, she disarmed him. The people watched as she cast his weapon into the void below. His coup was over. Peace returned to Elaris. Varek was exiled beyond the outer systems. The council, humbled by the people's loyalty to Lyra, accepted her right to choose her future. Weeks later, beneath the same crystal arch where two children once made a promise, the entire kingdom gathered. The 3 violet moons shone brightly overhead. Kael stood dressed in formal Elarian white. Lyra wore a gown woven from starlight silk. She looked radiant. As Kael knelt before her, he held out the silver ring. 15 years ago, I made a promise." His voice trembled with emotion. "I was only a boy who didn't understand galaxies, politics, or time." He looked into her eyes. "But I understood one thing, that I wanted forever with you." Tears shimmered in Lyria's glowing eyes. She extended her hand. "And I waited." He placed the ring on her finger. The gathered crowd erupted into cheers. Then Lyra pulled him to his feet and kissed him beneath the 3 moons. Years later, Queen Lyra and King Consort Kael ruled Elaris together. Their union became legendary across the galaxy. Not because it united 2 worlds, but because it proved something greater, that even across impossible distances, across years of silence, across war, loss, and galaxies, a promise made with a child's pure heart could still endure. And on quiet nights, when the moons lit the silver sea, Lyra would smile as Kael wrapped his arms around her. "You really came back," she'd whisper. He always answered the same way. "I told you I would."